to another episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show here on the Kokomo Post, partnered with Walls Furniture Mattress in Kokomo. My name is Drew Larison. This is MTM, or you might know him as Mayor Tyler Moore. Mr. Mayor, how are you?
I'm doing great. What a great weekend of basketball. A little heartbreak for our Wildcats, but Bobcats showed up for the first home opener. So March Madness is alive and well in Kokomo, Indiana.
Which that's my fourth bullet point I was going to talk about today.
All right.
But
Sorry to jump ahead.
It's basketball season. It's very exciting. I had to represent Michigan still in the tournament.
Go Blue.
They tied an NCAA record this weekend of making a Sweet 16 for 5 straight years.
There you go.
Happy to see that, especially because it's a down year. It's Michigan and Purdue left out of the Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
2 left. So, yeah, it's crazy. So many great NCAA games. IUK made it to the Sweet 16 and lost an unfortunate battle with a Nebraska team. I forget who they were called.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Kokomo was in the semi-state, and frankly, they got screwed over by some refs. Horrible officiating. I'm going to throw that out there. Not great. But then, the Bobcats were home last night for the first time, and great game. It felt so good to be back in Memorial Gym watching a Bobcats game, and they pulled off a victory.
They did.
There haven't been a lot of those.
Good start
in their season this year so far, so it was great to see one. And we actually, I'm going to start saying this probably, we record the Bobcast, the show we do for Kokomo Post Sports, on the same day. And Cliff's excited. He's feeling regenerated and feeling good. We got some new guys coming in that are making a big difference, and it's good. But, did you do anything else this weekend?
A little bit of run around, everything, help a friend move Saturday morning. But, headed over to Lafayette for the Kokomo game. Kind of chilled and hung out Saturday night. But yesterday, spent some time with Pop. He had surgery last Thursday, so I was down there. That's why I didn't get over to the Bobcat game yesterday.
Gotcha.
But took in some March Madness and tried to fill the weekend best I can. Yeah,
speaking of helping a friend move, which always involves pizza, because that's the payment for helping a friend move. We've got the Kokomo Post.
Oh, that's right.
The championship round is set. So we have our final 2. They're finally here. We have Fire Pizza of Rushville. They took out Gabe's Pizza.
Totally surprised with that. Gabe has been a mainstay here in Kokomo, so I was surprised.
And then we have Bruno's Pizza. They took out Pizza King. They dethroned the King.
So
we've got Bruno's, and we've got
Fire Pizza
in the finals. Actually, I'll look up right now to see who's ahead, because the votes, we didn't even announce it yet this morning, but people were waiting.
People are already on,
KokomoPost.com.
Hey, there was a huge tournament.
It's a big thing, man. It's a big thing. And
fun bracket.
People are loving the March Madness style of it. But, so Fire Pizza versus Bruno's. As of right now, Fire Pizza is ahead, 56 to 44%.
Not by much,
so we're just a few hours into the championship round, but that's exciting. So go vote if you want to, KokomoPost.com/pizza. Fire Pizza against Bruno's.
And vote will be open how long?
Oh, through Sunday night.
Through Sunday night
at midnight. By next Monday, we'll know the first winner of the Kokomo Post Pizza Throwdown. So we're looking forward to it. Yeah. Let's see what's going on at City Hall this week.
Spring cleaning and spring planning. We're just getting things together. I know with the warmer weather, it's getting everybody excited about being outside on a more regular basis. So we're getting some sprucing up over at Kokomo Beach done, some concrete work, some fresh paint. Same way over at the Municipal Stadium. We were just talking Jackrabbits off the air before we got on, but IUK's already been out there. Kokomo's going to be out there as well. In fact, I think Kokomo High School is hosting a Kokomo Baseball Classic April 8th and 9th. So teams from all over the state, from as far north as South Bend, as far south as Vigo County. So they will all converge on Kokomo. There will be all kinds of games Friday night and Saturday, a few over at Highland Park. CFD Stadium over there as well. I think the only 2 local teams are Kokomo, of course, being the host, and Western are going to be in. So a great weekend of baseball that Friday and Saturday coming up. But some sprucing up at the Municipal Stadium, Kokomo Beach, and dusting off the bikes and getting things ready for Coco Go Bike Share.
Love that. So we film this show on Mondays, and it comes out on Tuesdays. So tonight, I guess. You and I are
you
playing
view
in the
this.
game.
That's right. March Madness Bona Vista style.
Bona Vista is doing their charity basketball game. What are we, Aaron? We said, how many years have we been doing this? We looked it up. It was like 17 years.
21.
21 years they've
years.
been doing this charity basketball game, and you and I are in it. I was my first time last year.
It was my first time back. I had only played in it 1 year prior,
Gotcha.
so that was last year was my first year back as well.
This year it's at Memorial Gym.
Back to Memorial Gym, baby.
So last year was at Carver, and Coach Cliff, who, like I said, I was on the Bobcast with him earlier. He's our coach. He's the celebrities coach this year with his home court at Memorial Gym.
Look
now.
out.
And
This could be the year.
This could be the year.
the celebrities.
Maybe. Well, I think we're 0-21 as the celebrities there, but that's fine. But I was asking Cliff, I'm like, hey, coach, you're my coach now. Got any advice? Give me some tips and tricks the night before the game. And he's like, just don't shoot. That was his advice. And I'm like,
And I think
fair
that's-
enough.
I think
Okay.
that's the same thing he told me after the game last year. He goes, man, why did you out there? Why were we out there shooting?
Don't shoot. Just don't
Just
shoot.
don't shoot.
So I'm going to be
Pass the ball.
breaking records of assists tomorrow. Because
Perfect.
I guess all I'm going to be doing is passing. So that should be fun. If you guys want to, you're watching this earlier in the day on Tuesday, which I think this comes out usually Tuesday morning, right? Morning before
So
noon.
6 o'clock, gates open.
Yeah,
I
Memorial
think
Gym.
5:30 for warm-ups and such. But the game starts at 6.
Looking forward to it. Should be fun. All right. One thing I wanted to talk about too is recycling. in the city of
Recycling.
Kokomo. So a new story
That's
came
why I
out.
wore green.
That's right. You speak through your outfits. I love that. So the news story came out talking about curbside recycling might be up in the air. Tell us. We've talked a little bit about this.
Yes.
Because Aaron, you've talked about you'd like it weekly. Because as of right now,
Yeah.
it's every other
Yeah.
week. And Aaron's saying, "Hey, what do we need to do to make this weekly?" And your answer has always been the same. Your answer is always like, people need to be better stewards of it. And what that means is putting
Practice
things
better
in,
habits, yes.
yes,
Not
putting
so-
things
yeah.
in there that actually can be recycled. But basically, I'm hearing the city might be looking for different avenues.
We've been looking. I mean, prior to curbside being launched, there were about 6 drop-off sites throughout the community, and some of those were a mess. There's still a drop-off site over at the recycling intake on Market Street, just north of North Street, off of Market. But the other drop-off sites are outside of the city limits. There's one at Western High School, the Richeville Town Hall, Taylor High School, Northwestern High School. There's not one in Greentown currently yet. They've got small totes for recycling. Which one am I missing? I think those are the only ones for now. But again, prior to curbside, there were drop-off sites, and so when the previous administration decided to go curbside and purchase the totes, they partnered with the recycling district to assist, to ask the district to assist in purchasing the totes. And what we found is the approximately the same tonnage is being received curbside as there were on the scattered sites. However, there's a more frequent use of recycling totes as a second trash tote, and so when the recycling's collected and it's got trash in it, and the loads are compromised, when it's sent, I mean, we're still charged right around $76 a ton for recycling, but then if it just ends up going in the landfill because it's been compromised when it gets to the recycling center, then it's unfortunate because for the landfill we only pay approximately $44 to $46 per ton.
So almost half.
And so our first step is going to be to try and a little PR campaign, a little PSA announcements and such, trying to get everybody back in focus on what needs to be going in the blue tote, maybe reduce the amount that is actually going in, because I know that gets confusing too. Even though the sticker's on the top and tells you what numbers, it's sometimes hard to tell, and you're like, oh, well, this is probably good, and it's not.
That sticker by ours, at least, is long
worn
gone
off, yeah.
right now. Yeah. Whether
So
it's faded in the sun or it's just not there anymore.
Yeah. So we may start that first, because there are certain areas of the city that are better and more intentional recyclers than others.
Yeah.
But
It's interesting you know that.
And that we will continue to monitor that and see, and then we're looking at the possibility of reintroducing the drop-off sites, whether there's kind of a hybrid, those areas that are still good and intentional recyclers, though we don't have the larger percentages of trash that work their way in, but still make drop sites available. We're just weighing options at this point because it is unfortunate the percentage of trash that still works its way into the recycling totes.
Are people able to get a second trash tote?
Not at this time. People have asked, but believe it or not,
they throw stuff in there because their normal one's full.
That's usually always the case, yeah. And part of the reason, we don't necessarily want to, keep people from having additional trash totes right now.
Sure.
It's a supply chain thing. We've got a couple hundred ordered right now, and they're on back order for a number of months still. But yeah, you're right. The trash totes gets filled, and so people just use it. Or because so much trash and some trash and recycling in some areas of the city are in alleyways. People are up and down alleys or across the alleyways and throwing stuff in each other's totes and such.
I have 8,000 questions about recycling. I don't know why this is such an issue that I am so crazy passionate that this is a quality of life thing. So I who makes that call if and when it becomes oh man, we can't afford to do it anymore? Because I get that. I hear the monetary reasons, but who makes that call? Does that go through council? Is that a your call? Is that through recycling district? How does that work?
Well, it would be, the curbside recycling would probably, I don't think there would be an active council required. So it would just be something that I would decide, or that my administration would decide. That's why we're looking at numbers and possibilities and such. It's not that we would totally do away with recycling at all, because again, with those drop-off sites that they had before, the people that were intentional about recycling took them to the drop-off sites. And so it's amazing that the same amount of tonnage that they were receiving at those sites is about what they've been collecting curbside with a little more trash.
Maybe it's just total laziness on my part, right? Because I was a take it to the tote, but man, oh boy, I let that build up, and then I'm sure there was stuff I wasn't recycling that I should have been. This is definitely for me. I've talked about it before. I would love to see weekly recycling. I think mostly because this was from where I grew up. We had campaigns about it when we were kids in school. We had this is what can and can't go in the recycling bin, and Drew, I'm yelling at you all the time about what can and can't, or oh no, recycle that because you should.
Well, and pre-COVID, the recycling district had an educator, and so they were into the schools, and so that's, as you mentioned, that's where a lot of the efforts need to begin, is with the kids, with the students, because then they take that home and almost guilt us parents into being good recyclers. It sounds
like it isn't, because when I'm confused, I'm it's plastic. It can be, but there's certain types of plastic that can't. That doesn't sound like it's the main issue here. It sounds like people are just kind of being jerks and throwing what they know is just extra trash into that because they're out of room in their normal trash bin. So I understand. We could probably always be more educated on everything in life, but it sounds like it's just irresponsibility from people taking advantage, I guess, of the recycling program just to get rid of more stuff that they clearly know.
But what constitutes a ton that would have to be scrapped and sent to the landfill? How contaminated does it have to be? Because surely even well-intentioned people who are rinsing things don't get all the food out, or what constitutes oh man, we can't use this one.
We need to make a video of this. That's actually what I'm talking. The more you're talking about this, we need to take a camera. We need to show people, and we could help with this. This PR campaign you're talking about. Take a camera there, show them what all actually has to happen to process the recycling.
It's old school PBS. Well, you know what I mean? I'm so fascinated.
It might help grow their respect out of it and see what actually is going in.
The most obvious are pizza boxes.
Yeah,
they're cardboard. People toss them, but there's pizza grease in there, sometimes cheese remnants or whatever. And so if they go in and they see that, they're oh, we don't know what all it's touched.
I would say maybe 4% of our early marriage fights were me yelling at you to not throw out to throw the pizza box in the trash.
I wasn't keeping track.
Oh, I was.
Yeah, I just
he was thinking more 2.5% maybe.
2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there is definitely education on it what can be recycled and what shouldn't be recycled. But also, I think there needs to be education on these people that work at these recycling centers. This is what they do. And like, this is what they're currently having to do and honestly put up with the irresponsibility of some people, putting stuff in than they should. And like I said, not just, it's B12 plastic instead of P9 plastic. Like, because that stuff's going to happen no matter what. And that's probably always going to be the minority of the issues. I think it's people just recklessly throwing stuff in there because they ran out of trash. That's what I asked. Like, can they get a second trash tote? Because if they had that second trash tote, maybe they wouldn't be encouraged to throw the leftover in the recycling because they had plenty of room in their normal tote. If you really think about this is one of those like stupid thoughts probably. It's kind of crazy that like we still have landfills. How long humans have been around, we still have places to put all of our trash.
Still find it, yeah.
It's kind of amazing. That's actually a video too. What's a landfill?
We're just racking them up.
Well, we got cameras. We might as well make videos. Anyway, so thanks to the Kokomo Lantern, I guess, for that story that they put out, because it's interesting, and I would hate to see that go, but I also hate, obviously, our government spending so much money, that's wasting a lot of money.
The potential savings as well. I mean, saving on tonnage, and that would then, if we've got the drop sites. It would be a service provider grabbing those, but then that frees up a couple extra trucks on our route, a couple extra guys to maybe do street work as opposed to following up, because it's two different. I mean, they look like the same type of trucks, but obviously there's a couple of trucks that are designated specifically only for recycling, and so that frees those up. It saves a little bit of money, so we're looking at it all.
Yeah. So
hard decisions for you, man. Hard decisions.
Fun.
Yeah, just trashy decisions.
It ain't easy being green.
Oh, we both had some. Did you hear what I said? Just trashy decisions. And you said it ain't easy being green. Look at us,
Cocoa Bros.
Awesome. All right, let's get into the meat and taters of this show, which is the Ask the Mayor segment, partnered with Lexi's Drink Bar. And shout out to Lexi's Drink Bar being a great partner of this show. If you're a big fountain drink fan, I got one out there that I was sipping on earlier. 44 ounce Coke Zero with vanilla. That's my go-to order. Go check out Lexi's. They've got some fun stuff coming for.
So if you go to either Lexi's location and ask for the Drew Special, is that what they get?
Nope.
A large Coke Zero with vanilla?
I will say I can make that happen.
That would be cool.
Now, I know the owner. I mean, I can make that happen. Don't give me that look. Like, I can make that happen. Now, I will say, me being the one to take the step to make that happen.
No, I think the viewers could. If the viewers start, they just pull.
That's true.
When they pull up the order, like the Drew. I take the Drew.
That'd be great.
Like, what? That'd be a large.
Get my face on a cup or something like that. Would you love that?
There's so much happening here, guys.
It's great stuff, though. Anyway, thanks to Lexi's for being a great part of the show. Let's get into the questions. The first one is from Cliff on Facebook. No, it wasn't Cliff Levingston.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I won't shoot, Coach. Promise.
Cliff on Facebook says, I would like to talk to someone about sidewalks in the Lafayette Park area. These sidewalks were built in the 1950s area. Kids riding bikes in the streets, parents pushing baby strollers in the streets. Because the sidewalks are so bad, I'm guessing. So that is the Lafayette Park area.
Yeah, so, and we've talked about it before. There was a handful of questions usually about sidewalks or streets and such. The city has a 50-50 program because, as we've discussed before, property owners own their property out to the street, which usually includes the sidewalks out in front. So unless there's a tree that its roots are wreaking havoc and pulling up chunks of sidewalk and sections and such, where the city would consider coming in and removing that tree in order to keep the roots from doing that. There, again, is a 50-50 program, so you'd have to get 60% of a particular block to buy into it to request that work be done, and then the payment can either be made all up front or added to your property taxes.
Gotcha.
Wait, follow up on that one. So is there ever a time when the city says, like, man, that block is a disaster, we need to take care of it, of like a safety concern?
Maybe not an entire block, but yes, with trees, or again, if something's just totally out of whack due to erosion or some other type of event that may have caused something.
Earthquake, something. Okay.
There's a few spots in our neighborhood that are really bad, but one specifically I kind of never want somebody to fix because I have a really funny memory. it looks like the Hulk came down and like Hulk smashed the sidewalk. And I made a joke with my son years ago. I'm like, oh yeah, that's where Hulk came. And like, I never want him to see it fixed because he always talks
remember
about
that. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's not my property, but keep the Hulk sidewalk. It's fun.
Got it.
Next question is from Andy on Facebook. How much did he enjoy? You can guess probably which Andy on Facebook when I finish this. How much did he enjoy visiting the recent first Indiana robotics competition held at Northwestern High School a couple of weeks ago?
Very nice. It was another great event. I know it's typically held at Memorial Gym, but Northwestern were very gracious hosts. I know there was concern, and they talked about it, that the pit area, there was such a long trek from the pit area out to the competition arena. But I think people were able to flow well. The staff out there was outstanding, making everybody accommodating. It was actually still kind of nice, being a smaller venue, the Memorial Gym, obviously everybody spreads out and you're kind of away from the action. The gym that held the arena, is a little smaller, so everybody was a little more up and on top of the action. That was
love that.
Very nice.
That was Andy Baker.
Great competition. Good stuff.
It was Andy Baker.
Andy Baker. He does a great job.
One of my favorite citizens of Kokomo.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. Next question from Brandon on Facebook. Is there anything the city can do to clean up Phillips Street between Sycamore and Jefferson? It's been a mess for way too long. Also, is it possible to get a resurfacing of the tennis courts in the city parks? He put a picture. This is on one of the cracks at Highland Park.
Okay. So Phillips Street between Sycamore and Jefferson, that was work done by Indian American Water, and I think a little bit of NIPSCO as well. So since both utilities were down in there, now that spring is upon us and asphalt plant is opening, the engineering department will follow up with them, and hopefully that means some cleanup, some final cleanup and resurfacing work is going to be done through there. So we will make sure that happens. That is, even further north of Jefferson, along Phillips. There's still just
that's almost
spotty
since
stuff.
last summer. I think probably was when they started.
Well,
there, right?
they started because I think they were still on that stretch of Phillips, working on the lines even up almost to December. So that's why they were able to get concrete down in those areas. But yes, engineering department is going to follow up with those utilities now that street paving is quickly approaching, and see if they can clean that up. As for the tennis courts, yes, that's being looked into by Tori Rowe, park superintendent. I know that IUK is interested in resurfacing, because that's their home court for their down in Foster Park. So
at Foster Park.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Foster Park. Yeah, but yes, realizing that some of the tennis courts need attention, that is on our radar.
Talk about
Foster Park first. Just with the amount of activity and with IUK.
IUK, so proud of them and their athletics. Gosh. I think we're talking about how they're using Foster Park, but I could see probably in the next 10 years, maybe they'll have an indoor tennis facility, or maybe an IUK field house, type of thing out there. They're just growing so much.
They're on campus,
it's really cool to see. So go IUK. Next question is from Stacy on Facebook. What can the mayor do to bring in businesses directed towards families? Why do we have to go out of town to skate, go-kart, all those things that families with younger children have to go to Indy or elsewhere to do? We don't need more hotels or 5-minute oil change businesses. We need family sit-down restaurants, activities. Not all kids play baseball. We have one bowling alley, and there are adult leagues every night, usually an hour to 3-hour wait for a lane to bowl. We need help here in Kokomo, then maybe the kids can prosper.
There you go. It's not due to a lack of trying. everything that has been mentioned, we have thrown out ideas. It's one of those as if people or investors, developers are willing to bring that to our area, we are more than welcome to, or more than happy to work with them and try to find ways to incentivize and assist to do that. I know there has been talk about a roller rink, some of the open either supermarket area, Kmart was even, so people kind of tossing that idea around. we used to have a second bowling alley until the tornado came through, and then
Brad Howe Ford.
Unfortunately, then sold to Brad Howe. So, yes, I get it. I mean, there are a handful of very good restaurants in town where you can sit down and enjoy a family meal. If they're thinking more entertainment, more like a Chuck E. Cheese or something, I mean, we're working on it. But again, it's not due to a lack of trying. We throw out feelers all the time, hoping to entice businesses or those entrepreneurs to come to the Kokomo area. They just aren't here yet, but we're getting there.
Well, I'm so curious. When you say like you throw out feelers and like you try to entice them, like what do you do? What are incentives that you would offer them or have offered before? Like what does that look like on your end?
It's really just like a marketing package. So it's something that we partner with the Alliance. So it's something you just send out if they've got site selectors that are looking. So Charlie Sparks and his department, as well as Jennifer Jordan and her, if people are interested, saying, hey, we've got this business that is looking in the Midwest or in a community of this population or this proximity to something, and it's like, hey, what about Kokomo? And then you just kind of sell them on quality of place, quality of life, the schools, other amenities that already have summer events and such, and try to show that if they build it, we're here, and that we've got a great workforce. And
I'm curious. So I talk about it all the time, but I'm from Syracuse, New York, right? And they've got this huge mall, right? And so they did a pilot agreement, a payment in lieu of taxes. Is that something that, so basically the mall, this huge mall, which is like, it's called Destiny USA, and it's like almost as large as Mall of America. And so what they did was a 30-year or something like that year pilot agreement where they paid a lump sum instead of paying taxes, right? Is that something that
Buffalo did that too, or a similar type of program?
Yeah. Have we ever looked at or considered something like that in those areas? I'm so fascinated about like, how do you get businesses? Because we hear this question all the time. We get this question probably every 3 weeks. We need more things. And I think a lot of times they expect, the folks who are asking these expect us to build another Kokomo Municipal Stadium, right? So like a Kokomo Municipal Dave & Buster's, like, right? And so I think we hear this, and I don't think they know the role of the city in a process like that.
Right, and either fortunately or unfortunately, our proximity to Indianapolis and the Carmel, Westfield, I mean, with everything that's going on down there, if a company looks at Indiana to think, okay, oh yeah, Kokomo's cute, oh, but look at all the people down in Westfield,
or they've
45 minutes away,
or they've already got something in there, and it's not worth it to put something not too far away.
Too close. But the payment in lieu of taxes, corporations use that. I mean, there are a handful in Kokomo and Howard County that do that, but it usually is larger industrial, the manufacturing companies that do that, or are used as additional incentives.
So less small business, less sort of like a mom and pop, arcade or roller rink, but more of a, another Chrysler or something like that.
Right.
Really interesting. I think people would love to see and hear more about like, what's the active process that the city is doing to like pull those people in to like.
Which I hear that, but I'm also, this is always my script on questions like this. Build something. A lot of what you're describing, it's not like this, super secret process to figure something out.
A lot of people try, and it's just tougher in a city of our size that's, again, in close proximity. You can hop on 31 and, be in Carmel and Westfield and
which I guess
35, 40 minutes and such.
Like I said, I'm usually that harsh part, but like at the same time, try to build something, but also work with the city while doing it. There are incentive programs. There are like certain things the city can do to help someone launch that business or help maybe get connections in that business or something like that. But a lot of, if you're looking at like a Top Golf type of situation, that's just someone going out there and starting it and doing it. Or, if that's true, there's a 3-hour wait for a bowling alley on an average night in Kokomo. That's a market opportunity. Build another bowling alley. You know what I mean? So,
but you say this as like a serial entrepreneur, right? Like you have a mind for sort of entrepreneurship that I don't think the general public does, right? So when Sally Smith or whoever says like, hey man, I really wish we had more more activities for kids to be able to participate in, so we can keep them out of trouble, so we can keep them engaged, right? Like, I feel like we hear that all the time. The thought isn't, how can I help?
Well, I mean, it's call it entrepreneurism or not. I just don't buy into the camp of complaining about something and then doing nothing to actually make it happen. I don't buy into that. So, sure, I've started businesses, but I don't know. I mean, I've been here my entire life. I've heard this my entire life, and it's. I feel like it's just this same attitude where, like, you don't want to actually do anything to actually fix it, rather than just complain to a city municipal to make it happen. Which that's not how that works.
But I get her frustration. I mean, we do too. You're a mother of 4, and the kids sit around and are gaming with their friends. So she'll spend time with their friends, but it's like, man, I wish I could take them to a Dave & Buster's, because Chuck E. Cheese is a little too.
Which I will say is
young
Gravity.
For them, and there's Gravity.
Gravity is a great thing in Kokomo,
So,
with an awesome
they're awesome.
arcade. That they just added a giant new arcade, but at the same time, like, I know Gravity is crazy busy.
But we are putting together, we're in the process of putting together a feasibility study and kind of a marketing piece to send out an RFQ for the Warren Auto Parts site.
Got it.
Which will be mixed
Huge.
use. It's right along the trail, and so retail, residential, mixed use, maybe even the automotive museum, and an extension of that, and.
So who do you send that to? Like, when that goes out, who do you send that out to?
Bunch of people, probably.
Yeah, I mean, because ironically, when there was the article in the paper that indicated that we had started that study, we got a call from a site selector out of New York saying, hey, I've got a client that may be interested in that. He does this stuff up and down the East Coast, so keep us posted as to how
So
that
it's like a realtor
comes
type of position?
Yeah,
where like they're working with
commercial type of realtor. Yeah. So that's the idea, is just to throw it out through all channels. Again, hand it over to Charlie Sparks with the Alliance, and then he can send it out. I mean, because I believe there's some type of site selector network, for.
There's an Alliance.
An Alliance.
Oh my gosh.
Superman's in that.
It's a secret.
Oh, it's Alliance squared.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we got to move on.
Okay, sorry.
But
Good stuff.
a lot of stuff you can do. Next question is from Allie on Facebook. I've noticed some work being done extending the trail past the police station heading southwest. How far will that go, and what path will it take? Adding on to that, another trail-related question. I know a large amount of the trail is under video surveillance. What is done with the recorded video? Is it a live feed, or is it stored somewhere in case it needs to be looked back on for whatever reason?
Okay, so the trail from Markland, diagonal southwest to the Dixon and Deffenbaugh area, so it'll cut across back behind Haynes, and unfortunately right now it'll end right as you cross Dixon and hit Deffenbaugh, because that's the only part of the rail line that the city owns. Norfolk and Southern still owns it from Deffenbaugh Street all the way to Frankfort, but we are working with county government as well as the county government in Clinton County and city government in Frankfort to collectively put together an offer or package to buy that stretch of railroad from Norfolk and Southern, so that we can try to continue the trail from Deffenbaugh all the way to downtown Frankfort. So that is our hope, but it'll just be improved up to Dixon. Obviously, there's sidewalks along Dixon that people can connect to at that point, but it is our hopes to maybe come to a deal with Norfolk and Southern and eventually run it to Frankfort. So, and as for the trail surveillance, yes, we've got about just over 7 miles of our trails in the city that are covered by surveillance cameras. Some of the areas that we haven't got to, an additional 4.5 or so, are part of a project that we're using the ARP funds to cover. So that's forthcoming, but the footage that is obtained from that goes to file servers that then have access by the Kokomo Police Department, again, to monitor or to follow up on for any type of unfortunate or unlawful activity.
Okay.
So there's not a big surveillance room with monitors for each camera up there.
We should have that,
between,
though. That'd be fun.
That they're looking at, but it's
Truman Show.
Truman Show, or what was that
Truman Show.
other movie where the oracles predicted crimes that were? It was a Tom Cruise movie.
Oh yeah.
I hate bringing up a movie, and I don't.
I know we haven't done movies in a while. Aaron's going to get it.
It's fine. All right, we'll move on. Next question is, we actually have two questions concerning crime. And so I'm just going to do one of them because it's pretty much the same question.
Minority Report.
Minority Report.
Great movie. Marty on Facebook. I would like to know what the mayor is doing about safety of Kokomo and the surrounding areas. I'm a mom of 2 teenagers, and I'm greatly concerned with how many missing person cases Kokomo and surrounding areas have had, and want to know what safety protocols are being put into place. The second question on crime is from Timothy, and it says, I'm hearing gunfire all the time around my neighborhood. I do not feel safe anymore. What is the plan forward for increased crime in Kokomo?
Really what we've been talking about for a couple of years is increasing the staffing levels of our police department so we get more bodies on the street to be more proactive as opposed to reactive. That has actually been better than or produced better results than what people may think. We've just got into more of a practice of making the community aware of incidents that are happening or reports that are being made. As for the safety protocols, I mean, our detective division out of the police department is top notch. They have access to resources through the state police department as well as the regional FBI, and have partnered with them on a number of cases as well. Solved a cold case from a few years back earlier. I think it was this year. I don't know, towards the end of last year. But yeah, it was unfortunate the young girl that had gone missing and then was found deceased. But as for safety protocols with the additional bodies, the chief has committed to more active patrols in our parks, more specifically Foster Park as well as Kokomo Beach, because of some of the heightened concerns last year. But just as we get more bodies, raise awareness, get more video surveillance along our trails, we're doing the best we can to deter as much as we can.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had a quick follow-up to that.
I don't. I could always follow up. Like, where are we with staffing? Have you added more officers?
We are about ready to swear in our 30th officer since I took office in January of 2020. However, due to retirement and due to retirement or job change, we've had, I think, 22 leave. So still to be able to net 7 or 8 has definitely assisted us not only on the streets but in investigative work, and so doing a good job.
Okay. Last question is from Ray on Facebook. Why? And this is a topic we've talked about quite a few times. Why haste the fire department returning to provide an ambulance service?
Why haste to do it? Why hurry to do it?
That was his
Is that
word,
what I mean?
was haste. Or
Why?
to pause to...
My assumption is why are we waiting?
Why are we waiting?
Why are we waiting? Okay, so why are we waiting? Staffing. Back when the city last provided ambulance service, they had 2 ambulances, and we had 122 firefighters. Well, maybe even if it was 120 firefighters. Right now we've got 89. And so, I mean, it takes at least 7 additional firefighters in order to staff an ambulance, because you need 2 on the bus at any time. And so right now, with the staffing levels as low as they are, it's the chief and the department's desire to have one additional firefighter on each truck due to the NFP 17 standards that they try to serve by. And with that, the only way we could do it now would be to schedule schedule overtime. So we would have to pull guys, and some of the guys, due to COVID and injuries and stuff, have been working exuberant hours of overtime. Unfortunately, the overtime that was paid out last year was around $1.2 million. And so looking at that and knowing that we'd have to pay additional overtime in order to staff the ambulance, we just took a step back and so that we didn't go into it too hastily, I guess you could say, and further challenges to the department that is already in need of additional overtime with the existing staff. But as we continue to add bodies, not to say that we won't, because there's obviously a need, but at this time we would only be adding one, which again, once we get 6 or 7 more firefighters, ideally we'd like to have them on the truck as opposed to ambulance, but that would give us more of a cushion to cover the overtime needed to put on an ambulance. So working on it.
And where are we with overall fire department staffing? I know that was an issue with some unbudgeted funds in this year's budget cycle, right?
Because of the need for additional bodies.
Yes.
Yeah, there was confusion, I guess, between those that put the budget together, that numbers wise they still budgeted at the 89 level that they were the year before, expecting, I think, the council or administration to go ahead and, even though what was submitted, to go ahead and add the additional bodies, and there wasn't. They just went with what was requested, and so unfortunately the number of firefighters budget was 89, which is about where they are. But now that we're preparing for budgets this year, we'll work on that.
So right now then they're still at that 89 number?
Yes.
Or right about?
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. All right. So that was the last question for the Ask the Mayor segment, partnered with Lexi's Drink Barn. So if you ever have a question, just leave it in a comment on this video, or we always put something out on Monday morning because we film the show on Monday. So if you ever have a question, just make sure to look out for that status on our Facebook page to ask a question below there. And I think we got to all of them from last week and this week. So awesome. Knocked out a lot of questions this time. So thank you for typing in those questions. We really appreciate it. This guy likes answering those questions. So
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. You got a dad joke for us?
Yeah. Now that the Bobcats are back in town, I heard they're sloppy eaters.
Oh,
you know why?
Sloppy eaters. Why is that?
Yeah, because they dribble.
Okay.
Wow,
thanks for watching this episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show. That was something. Did you make? You had to make that one up.
No, I heard it. I
original.
just threw the Bobcats in there.
Okay, that's.
I liked it, guys. I dig a dad joke.
Thanks, Aaron.
That's
You're
good.
the best.
Awesome. Well, thanks for watching this episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show, partnered with Walls Furniture Mattress. Like I said, if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment below on this video. Love to see you ask those questions. We'll make sure to put them in the show for the Lexi's Drink Barn Ask the Mayor segment. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
All right. See you, Kokomo.